Hi and welcome to another C# programming tutorial. In today's class we're going to talk about events. So as I mentioned in my previous videos, C# programming using Windows Form application is event driven. That means that when an event is triggered, some code will be triggered. Let's say for instance a button. When we click on a button, that click is a click event. And that event is connected to a certain function that was created, and that function is an event function, and in that function we can do some coding in order for us to create a calculator, for instance, and so on. So C# programming using Windows Forms are event driven. So when an event is triggered, something will happen. So let's jump into the coding and Visual Studio to see how we do this. So in Visual Studio I created a traffic light project, and in this Windows Form I will create 3 images. Okay, and these 3 images, let's put them like that. And each image, picture box 1, picture box 2, picture box 3. So I'm using picture boxes now to then display images. So I created 3 picture boxes, and if you quickly minimize, you will see I've got 3 PNG files. Green.png, yellow.png and red.png, and they will illustrate a traffic light for us. So if I click on the first picture box, and you go down and you search for image under appearance, you will see that ellipse, and then you will say import from desktop green.png, and we will open and we will import that local resource. Now you will also see that the image is bigger than the picture box, so it doesn't fit. So what we do then is we go to the behavior, size mode, and you click on stretch image. So then it will stretch the image to fit the picture box. So we will do the same then for the next picture box. I'm going to import yellow.png, okay, and I'm going to say size mode stretch, and the same for the next one. I'm going to import red.png, okay, and I'm going to say size mode stretch. So now I've got the 3 images here, and these are my images. Now I want to do certain things to these images and trigger certain events. So we're talking about events. So each element has events. Now we know already that each element, if I click on this picture box 1, each element has a set of properties that we can go and play around with and edit. If you look at in the properties pane at the top, you see a paper with a wrench. That's our properties tab. So this is all the properties. But next to the properties tab, you see there's a lightning figure, and that's called events. So I'm going to click on that, and it opens up a new pane for us. So each element has a set of events that we can use on that specific element. So as you can see, there's an action, click, double click, mouse capture change, mouse click, and so forth. So I'm going to do on the first picture box, I'm going to create a click event. So how do we create that click event? So this picture box is not a button, so if we double click on it, it's not going to necessarily create a click event for us. So this picture box is not like a button. So we need to go to events, click, and then in the open space we double click, and that creates now a picture box 1.click event function for us. And what we will do now is when we click on this picture box, I want to change the form color to green. Now how do we do this? So as you can also see, we've got a class called form1. So in C#, it's class based. So this function is inside the the class public partial class form1. So we can't actually say form1 because we are in the class form1. We can't work with form1 directly. So if you have a look at some of my earlier videos in C++, you would see there's a video called the this pointer, and the this pointer points to the actual object created of that class. So we're working with this specific instance of this class, and it's called form1. So we're going to change the color of form1 because form1 is a class. All the elements and everything is going to be inside this class actually. So what we will do is we will say this dot back color. So we're actually saying form1 dot back color is going to be equal to, and then we have got a color dot green. Great, and now we can save this and let's build and run and see what happens. So I've got my application open here. Nothing happens if I just move my mouse, and if I click on it, it's going to change the background to green. Great, so let's do an event for yellow. So let's click on the picture box 2, we go to events, and let's see if we can do a, let's go down, drag, drop, drag, enter, drag, leave, drag over. Let's try a drag over event. So when we drag over, I want to say this dot back color is equal to color dot yellow. Okay, so let's save this and we run and see what happens with this drag over. So if I drag over, nothing happens. Oh, okay, so click, drag over. That's not actually what we wanted. So let's go and delete this. And how do we delete events? So you can see there's a reference. So we can't just now delete this function because that will create an error for us. So if I go here to form1, form1 on picture box 2, and I go down here, I can select this and delete this. And then if we go to the coding, you will see it was deleted and the program is still going to compile. So that's how we delete events that we did not want to create. So let's quickly select picture box 2 again, and let's look at something like a mouse move, but let's see if we have visible changed, dock, mouse down, mouse enter, layout, data, behavior, control UI, help, load. Oh, let's do a double click. Let's do a double click. So I'm going to do this code again here, and I'm going to say that it needs to then change to yellow. Let's save this and run it. Okay, so if I click on green, it's going to change to green, but if I click on yellow, it's not doing anything. But if I double click, it changes to yellow. Great stuff. So let's go to our next picture box, and I want to do a mouse movement. So let's see if I can do it. Drag, drop, drag over, focus. Mouse hover. Let's say mouse hover. Or mouse move. Let's say mouse move. When the mouse moves, it's going to change the color. So let's say back color red, and let's see what the mouse move events do. Okay, so let's run our application, and I've got click green, double click yellow, and then if I move the mouse over this image, okay, over that specific image, I click on green, it's green, I double click on the yellow, double click, it makes it yellow. So click, one click green, double click yellow, and then nothing happens if I move the mouse. But if I move the mouse over this image, it actually changes it to red. And there you have it. The events you have for each element, you've got a certain set of events that you can go and play around with. As you could see on mouse move, if the mouse moves over this image, it's going to trigger an event. So that's events. Everything in C# using Windows Form application is event driven, meaning that when an event is triggered, a function or piece of code will be compiled and run. So that is events in C# programming. I hope you've learned something. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.